positions.
Also, I think correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure Zach is like the youngest person to be competing right now. I don't even think he was 18 last time we saw him in a LAN, but either way, it's the first game of the day here. Golden Guardians facing off against Hamsters and Hares.
Yeah, I mean, this should make for an interesting matchup. The blind pick, we'll know shortly. It is going to be Absurge, Peekaboo, and WizK playing Rogue Mage Paladin, and Roasties on Warrior. I mean, I don't think we've seen too much of this. And Valito on that Frost Death Knight. I think this is, I think going into this blind pick, I would actually say Hamsters and Hares have come out slightly ahead. But, I mean, Golden Guardians with that Rogue Mage Paladin, obviously a very explosive, control-based composition. We'll see how much they've been practicing it.
Honestly, I would say that the Golden Guardians here came out with the surprise. It looks like Hamsters and Hares were setting up a classical Tunnel the Shadow Priest setup here, and they've been able to dodge it here, but like you said, let's see how experienced they are here. They're going to be opening up here onto Zach. Good opener right now with the sap onto Valito. There's the DR Kidney, and Valito actually trinketing using that anti-magic zone, trading very effectively so far for WizK's Combustion, and now WizK going to be in a lot of trouble. This is where he's really going to be tested when you're playing those, kind of alt specializations and you get focused. That's when you're really going to be kind of sweating here. WizK able to just trade out the altar time right now for the Blinding Sleet setup, and Peekaboo and WizK still taking a lot of damage here from that Blade Storm. WizK blinking out, but once again getting gripped back into the fray. There's the Dragon's Breath looking to set up here. Peekaboo with the Night Fate Link into the Cheap Shot now, looking to set up once again here onto the Paladin. Doesn't look like they're going to be able to net too much from this setup due to Roasty's intervention right there.
Blinding Light on Zach. They're trying to get crowd control, but they get a full sap off the Blinding Light. Nice play by Peekaboo. Intercepted by Roasty's intimidating shout, though, delaying the damage. Peekaboo follows up with another sap. Peekaboo putting the team in his back pocket right now. Kidney shot off the sap. This is all Peekaboo right now. Do they have enough damage, though, to close out for a kill? And it doesn't look like they do. Roasty's staying at 50% health despite all of that crowd control utilized by Peekaboo, and that's going to be devastating. They were really banking on pulling the die by the sword. At least they do get medallions out of the way. Smoke Bomb is an opportunity. WizK under fire. He blinks in aggressively. He may regret this. Absurge is far out of position. Trying to get back onto Zach here, interrupted, blasting out damage on Zach during the cheap shots, still trying to fish for more medallions, not finding Zach's here, as he will recover. Good chains of ice here on Peekaboo by Valito, making sure to keep the rogue in combat is very important, but no, they let him drop for a moment. Peekaboo in stealth now, looking to find a target. Where is he going to open? His blind's coming up soon. They have Combustion. I think they want to do a Smoke Bomb onto the Warrior here in a stun lock, so likely kidney shot. Zach swap. It looks like they're actually just attacking Zach. They're going to smoke bomb Zach. They're really trying to power through here. They get Divine Shield and the Prot Legendary as well. So a 2-for-1 for that Combustion. Can't really complain. Divine Shield an important cooldown to get out of the way. Peekaboo soul shaping away and then back in for a blind to bait a trinket on the medallion. Interesting bait here, but WizK's falling behind while Peekaboo is playing around with Zach.
Ooh. That was a nice intervene by Roasties, but Peekaboo got the follow-up sap anyways. Cheap shot now onto Roasties. If they can get the trinket from Zach, Zach has to be very careful right now. Rallying Cry comes in from Roasties. I don't think WizK has the damage to really force too much more. Cheap shot on Zach. This crowd control chain seems to be endless. If Rallying Cry falls, Roasties could be in some trouble, but the double stun comes in from Valito. A counter attack here from Hamsters and Hares, but Roasties, Rallying Cry fades. Gets extremely low. Sacrifice trades from Zach. And Golden Guardians, I would have to say, I think they're on the clock a little bit. They still got quite a bit of time, and they are working through cooldowns slowly but surely. But the next Combustion WizK has, Valito should have his anti-magic zone to help back him up. But I like what Peekaboo's doing, just going for restyles. Blessing Protection actually goes out onto Roasty's aggressive. Big setup here from Hamsters and Hares. What are they going to be able to get? Absters, how is he going to respond to this? He actually just walks away kind of scot-free, and I mean, that looked okay, but they just did not have the follow-up stun. Abomination Limb finally going to be trading out here from Valito, but still just not really finding too much damage here on WizK.
Yeah, it looks like that was a really nice triple setup here. Ooh, WizK getting a sheep right now, going for it, and he actually doesn't get it there. There's the Blinding Light, though, from Absurge. Here comes the Combustion here. Valito immediately trinkets, trades out the anti-magic zone, and there's the full sap to follow things up here. And Roasty's actually looking like the target right now. Blessing of Protection trades out offensively, and they're going to go after Zach here with the leftovers. He does have the Legendary here to work with, though, and there was a little bit of a gap there. Still taking a decent amount of damage there. Zach going to be using that Avenging Wrath there to survive that situation. And the Legendary also not going to be proccing in that chain, so Zach going to have that in his his back pocket. He still has his trinket as well, and 2 minutes left for that divine shield. So he's going to have a decent amount of answers here for the upcoming setups. And right now, Peekaboo is the one in trouble. Whiskey, though, showing some nice peels here on that mage, getting a sheep shot there. Now a beautiful hammer of justice. Can he swap the polymorph? He goes for the ring of frost. Is there a grip? No, there's a blinding sleet though. Kind of don't want to use that defensively there, but Valido felt like he really had to there to shut down the CC chain. And honestly, Golden Guardians on this Rogue Mage Paladin showing a lot of pressure here. Whiskey, though, forced to use that Battle Master, blinking back now to his side of the map. And the next combustion, which is up in about 5 seconds, does not have that trinket anti-magic zone to answer it. Zach doesn't have a trinket, and all of a sudden, there's a kill window here on Zach.
Well, let's see if they can set it up here. Peekaboo's chasing him down. He's running away. Abster just moving closer. Whiskey spamming polymorphs. Wants to make sure the DPS are crowd controlled before they stun the paladin, so they can't help Zach out here. Just spamming out polymorphs, likely a Frost Nova. Double Dragon's Breath, stun lock, smoke bomb. Beautiful setup with that combustion. They need to power through the legendary, though. The prop paladin legendary. They don't even have enough damage to proc it. Only getting to through the save by the light. That combustion not netting enough damage. Zach looks like he should be able to recover with the Avenging Wrath. Whiskey now falling behind. Mana is at least even. They stun Peekaboo behind the pillar. Zach's trying to solo Peekaboo in a stun here. Not going to find the kill. Absterge moves back and saves him in time. Valido trying to help out here with Peekaboo. They're swapping to the Rogue, trying to pressure him away from Zach with a reflected polymorph on Whiskey. But now they're caught in a double blinding light, and Zach is all alone here for a moment, catching some big heals in that Battle Master trinket. Feels like the Battle Master trinket is a really important trinket to have right now in PvP, providing you main stat and this explosive heal, instant cast heal that can't really be stopped other than with stuns. I feel like almost every player is running it at the moment.
Yeah, that last setup I feel like was a win for Golden Guardians. Whiskey for some reason didn't drop his meteor. He had combustion, he had meteor, and he just didn't even use it. So with Zach, he got really low. He might have actually gone down if that had landed, but Whiskey right now under fire. Abster's burning through a lot of mana. I think he might have actually sat down for a drink. He's ahead compared to Zach right now, who's kind of struggling to heal through this Rogue Mage pressure. Peekaboo getting topped off. Another setup coming in here from Rosties and Valido. Kidney shot on Rosties. They're just trying to heal. They're actually going after Rosties. They get Zach. They didn't actually get Zach's trinket. Oh no! The mirror image from Whiskey. Little Frostbolt actually broke that full blind on Zach, so now he's ahead. He does not have to actually trade out his trinket, and that's a great situation for Hamster and Hares. Not so great for Golden Guardians as Peekaboo gets lower and lower.
Ooh, dropping super low here. The sacrifice trades out. Overlap there with Peekaboo's trinket, vanish, and cloak of shadows right there. He's going to go for Roasties right now. There's a kidney shot. Whiskey has the aura mastery, but he doesn't get the ring of frost in time. Should still be able to secure the polymorph there, but no stun on the DPS. Here comes the blinding sleet. Absterge doesn't really have the sacrifice here. Might have to trade out a blessing of protection instead. Beautiful sap there. DR by Peekaboo, and that is going to be once again the anti-magic zone, trading out for that combustion. And you know, decent pressure there so far from the Golden Guardians. They even had that one checkmate situation where it just looked like they messed up their damage rotation, or maybe they didn't have the meteor there in time. I'm not sure, but if they can set up a situation like that again, that could definitely be good for the Golden Guardians. Right now, though, they're on the back foot. They're leading in terms of mana, but when it comes to that sustained damage and kind of burning through the healer's mana bar, Absterge is definitely going to be the one on a timer. They need to get a big blind here onto Zach, into a potential CC chain, and there we go. Blinding light actually onto Peekaboo, but Whiskey snipes the polymorph. They're going after Roasties, tries to preemptively blade storm the stun here. Peekaboo could go for a sap. No, he's going to go for a kidney shot, and now they're actually going to go and swap over to Zach. Ring of Frost gets gripped there onto Whiskey. Intervene comes out, and that should mean that Zach is completely safe here. And now, once again, Whiskey in a lot of trouble here. Could be his ice block if he's not careful.
Yeah, we're at 20% dampening. That's 20% healing reduction. So there's no more fooling around here for the Golden Guardians. That Death Knight Warrior damage is going to start to stick. Peekaboo is still just chasing Zach around, but with Chains of Ice, pretty difficult for him to stay on target here. Zach still wrapping around the corner. Hammer of Justice. Swap over to Roasties, it looks like here in the cheap shot, kidney shot. Do they have enough damage to drop them? Combustion pops. Roasties lands a triple. Overlapped a bit with the blinding sleet, but I think it's respecting the cooldowns there. It may have been a panic moment. They still have defensives to trade. They've got a lot of pressure now on Whiskey, having survived that attack. Big condemns coming in. Zach laying in with those judgments as well. They could get the cauterize. They proc it. Whiskey's burning down. very quickly, but is able to avoid the damage now, trying to reset his combustion for one more opportunity. But who do you go after? Everyone's got a medallion. Everyone has an answer for that combustion. If I was the Golden Guardians, I'd be desperate right now. They drop Smoke Bomb to try and make something happen here onto Roasties. Roasties trades
nice
out of the
sap.
sword. This is the final chance for them, but a triple stun in reverse from Bolito, setting up huge pressure across the board. Zach trades Sacrifice and Divine Shield. Opportunities are presenting themselves. Golden Guardians keep themselves in the game.
Beautiful plays there by Peekaboo, really just setting everything up nicely. He puts the team back in the game with that smoke bomb, sap on Zach. They get Divine Shield, Sacrifice, die by the sword, everything. And now Roasties is the one in trouble. Anti-Magic Zone drops. Can Peekaboo take him down? He's getting so low. Zach, can he find some heals? Looks like he will be able to. Roasties can hold on, but this is getting really, really close. 30% dampening. WizK, of course, with no Katara, is going to be very vulnerable, but he has combustion. They just need one more setup. They could go after Zach. They could go after Roasties. WizK just pulls the trigger. Can he take someone down? Where's the damage? Roasties line of sighting with Bolito, with Zach. They need to recover. If they can recover through this combustion, Hamsters and Hares is going to be looking good, but a full kidney shot lands on Zach, blessing of protection to free himself so he can get some heals on Roasties. A Hammer of Justice beautifully done there by Absurge, and they might be able to take him down. Roasties just so low, 10% health. Zach just trying to bomb in some heals, but at 30% dampening, this is not an easy thing to do.
I really don't like that kidney shot there by Peekaboo. I would have loved to see a Hammer of Justice there on Zach. He just used that Blessing of Protection to get out of that stun right there. And WizK also could have held his combustion a little bit earlier there. That was a clean setup. That was a checkmate situation. But the Golden Guardians still in a pretty good situation right now. Abster's looking maybe for a drink here. Peekaboo trying to buy some time here. Abster's not going to be able to find it. They're looking for that last setup here. They have one more chance here to potentially close out the match. Zach, though, he's going to have his string in about 5 seconds. Peekaboo gets Hammer of Justice. Absters with the Dispel. Here we go. Triple Dragon's Breath. WizK setting up the solo CC here for his team. Zach might need the trinket here. Triple Syndra Ghost coming out from Bolito. The shield streak is bouncing. Peekaboo gets the follow-up sap here. Do they have the damage to take down Roasties is the question. Do they have another stun here for Zach? Doesn't look like it. Zach's going to power through with that Avenging Wrath, and Peekaboo forced to trade out his Vanish here. He's got the Shadow Blades. He's got that one Shadow Dance. He's got one shot left, and they have the trinket for that blind potentially. Is Zach going to trade it here? He doesn't so far. WizK trading out the combustion here, and he does trinket the sap there, and he trades out the sacrifice here as well. Peekaboo, what a beautiful blink there with the Night Play, buying his team one more setup. Absterge completely tapped. This game is going down to the wire, Sid.
No mana left on either side. 40% dampening here. Anyone could take it. They stun up Zach. He's down to half. They're trying to go for the kill here. Do they have enough damage to do so? WizK gets interrupted, but he's laying in Phoenix Flame. Zach holds on at 30% remaining health. His team is crowd controlled. He goes for a big Divine Favor. Not that big at 42% dampening. Blinding Light onto Peekaboo. Zach gets a peel for himself. He's buying time to try and get his team back on target and finish this, but Absterge has answers. Zach doesn't. He's working with nothing. 0 mana left in the tank. They drop Anti-Magic Zone. They try and go for a YOLO War Stomp. Will the Anti-Magic Zone be enough here for Zach to survive? They stun up Peekaboo. They're trying to take him out. Big Divine Toll comes in. Peekaboo ultimately will get crushed. Absterge had cooldowns to trade there. Was he crowd controlled? The sacrifice is available here. They were so close to the kill, but Hamsters and Hares deny it.
What a close game. I mean, when we look at that replay, you're going to see Zach gets down to 10% health. Luckily, he had that Divine Toll that was able to help him out at the last second, but really, really close. I feel like both these teams played pretty well, honestly. I'm impressed with the setups that Golden Guardians were able to put out. Hamster and Hares, though, they're just looking so durable with this Warrior Death Knight Paladin composition, and they're able to claim game number 1, but I really don't think it gets much closer than that.
Definitely not, Ben. These are really the games that I love to watch when you really don't know which way it's going to go. You think it's going to go one way, and then at the very last minute, like we just saw, Hamsters and Hares pulls out a victory. And what an exciting way to end that game number 1, Zico.
Here it's a little bit heartbreaking here because it really looks like the Golden Guardians, they've finally kind of cracked through the defense here. Peekaboo is completely on the aggressive here after that beautiful Night Fae blink earlier, trying to connect onto Zach, which is just completely tapped here on mana. Abster has his wings. He has his sacrifice here as well. There is the trinket on the Hammer of Justice. Peekaboo knows that this target is going to go down here. The leader buying a little bit of time there with that Anti-Magic Zone, and Nice fear by Roasties. There's the Stormbolt, and look at this. This is the Mortal Strike, double Mortal Strike right there from Roasties with that conduit. I believe it's a 14% chance right there to proc, and that looked like a double crit too. So, I mean, yeah, you can say, yeah, Hamsters had some answers there, but that was also just a 50-0 there from the Warrior, just getting that perfect kind of all-stars aligning proc there on the Mortal Strike, takes him down from about 50% when they were in such a good situation. I like the flexibility, though, from Golden Guardians here.
Yeah, definitely. And what a close game that was. You're absolutely right. Stupides, do you feel like, given how that game number 1 went, this is going to be just one of those sort of back and forth Game 5 series with these two teams being so head-to-head?
I'm wondering what comp Golden Guardians are going to utilize, because in the past, their Shadow Priest comps have struggled with the cleaves. I mean, that was close. Like, I feel like they could have won that game a few times, so it's possible that they just keep playing the same. We've seen Warrior Mage not do so well into the Frost Death Knight cleaves either. I feel like no matter what, WizK is not going to have a great time into a Frost Death Knight Arms Warrior. Frost Death Knight may be a bit underrated at the moment in terms of popularity, but it is a really good specialization into casters at the moment and stacking targets up. I feel like Valido really carried hard with his utility in that match specifically, which can be difficult to do as a Death Knight. Like, you're not known for your peeling capability. You're kind of known for just zug, but Valido made the toolkit work really well for his team to buy time, and that's all they needed to ultimately net a kill. I think maybe we don't see any changes, just maps might change. Maps that are easier, maybe they go for drink maps. They might even go for big maps as Rogue Mage. They have a choice here. I'm interested to see which one they make, because if they go small map, that means they want to set up, maybe kill Paladin. If they go big map, they want to just drink, dampen Rogue Mage, and I'm curious to see which option they pick.
Yeah, and if Zach was able to reliably get in drinks on that game number 1, then Ven, do you feel like that would have gone a little bit more in their favor, in Hamsters and Hares' favor, or would have still been that close?
Well, the thing is about this particular matchup, I feel like it's almost unrealistic to think Zach is ever going to get drinks, just because Peekaboo is just running away in stealth the entire game. So if you do find yourself out of combat and you're sitting down and you're thinking, ooh, look, it's a great time to drink, you're just going to get sapped, and then they're going to have a good setup from that. So I think unless a Golden Guardian,
so maybe the question is, can he even get a drink? Is there even a hope at all?
No, I don't think that's something they can really rely on. But I mean, the good news for them is they should pretty much always win on mana, just because you have Valido and Rosie playing Warrior Death Knight, and they're going to be doing literally double the damage, like the consistent damage of Peekaboo and WizK. It's a lot easier in terms of mana efficiency to heal through like bursts that's happening every 45 seconds as compared to just all-out damage that's happening the entire game. So it's going to be up to Absturge to sneak away and drink, and he was able to do that a few times, I believe, in the last game. So that set them up nicely, but it's kind of interesting. Hamster and Hares, they have a lot of flexibility on their roster. I feel like they actually have this is the team, Sid kind of said it at the beginning, like you might look at their name, Hamster and Hares, it's kind of like memey, it's jokey, but they have a top tier Paladin with Zach. Floormat is a phenomenal multi-classer and really a top tier mage. Valido playing Elemental Shaman at that high level, as well as Death Knight, and then you have Roasties playing Rogue and now Warrior. I feel like they have so many of the meta compositions. And right now, with this TSG, this Warrior Frost Death Knight Paladin, I think Golden Guardians really has to come up with an answer. I do think the Rogue Mage Paladin didn't look that bad. Like, if some of their setups are just a little cleaner, I think they could have won that last game. Like I said, it's kind of as close as it really does get. So maybe just cleaning up their goes a little bit more, they could still be in this series easily.
This is really awkward, but I don't know what to do. Someone's like knocking on my door. Should I go? I don't know. I have to answer. This is...
All right,
someone's at my door.
All right, I'll be your host now. My name is
I'll be right back.
Zico, and we got a phenomenal series here on our hands, ladies and gentlemen. We got a game here on Ashamane's Fall, and let me tell you, Ashamane's Fall, kind of a large map, and you mentioned here, Venruki, that they have Valido on that LA Shaman, they have Floormat on that Mage. Typically, you would expect that LA Shaman Mage maybe to come out on a map like this, but they didn't go for that. What do you think about that?
Well, I think... I mean, it's something I actually talked about yesterday. Sometimes I like when teams just have a composition and they kind of just stick with it. It's like, okay, this is our Warrior Death Knight. What are you going to do about it? And they lost the first game, and then they're saying, okay, what are you going to do about it this time? And if they can't do anything about it, then you have a pretty good composition into their team. So I think just kind of experimenting, seeing what the Golden Guardians can come up with. And I mean, Golden Guardians right now, look at their time. They got 30 seconds. They're scratching their heads saying, what do we want to do? Is that a matchup that we liked? I mean, maybe it wasn't. Maybe they felt like everything in the game went perfect for them and they still lost, even though it didn't appear that way. Spectating the game, it seemed like it could have been a little bit cleaner. But still, I don't know when I look at this matchup, it does seem difficult for the Rogue Mage Paladin to kind of pierce through all that defense. It really relies on like those big combustion goes, and I almost wonder if WizK on his Fire Mage should be playing short combustion, just because a lot of his goes he wasn't dropping Meteor anyways because they were stacked up. Maybe just play like super short combustion with kindling, and that way every single time you get crowd control, you can combust. Like you can literally get down to like a 45-second combust, 40-second combust, and that can be really, really strong. But we'll see what they decide to do. They are going to lock in the Rogue Mage Paladin once again.
Definitely something to consider here. Aya, welcome back. You are now the host once again. Did you get food delivery or what's up?
Yeah, someone ordered food. Yeah, so they were like, I thought they would just leave it, but they knocked again. And I was like, okay, I should go answer. So sorry, everybody. That's what happens when you work from home. But yeah, good job. You did a good job, Zico. Proud of you. How do you like the host role? We can swap. I'll try and cast.
I think you do it a lot better than I could. So I think we keep it the way it is right now, but I'll keep that in mind. Thank you.
Okay. All right, well, we're catching up. Okay. Oh, you know what I did want to ask you actually, Zico? So I know last week when last cup number 1, when we were talking about WizK on his Fire Mage, when he's been making that transition over to this new class, and you're kind of talking about how he's sort of been learning. How do you feel like he's done based off of game number 2 in comparison to his performance the first weekend?
Honestly, I like what Whiskey's been able to do. I feel like one of the toughest things when you're trying to pick up a new class is when you're being targeted, especially when you're being targeted, by somebody as good as Valido with all of the interrupts. He's always trying to grip you and use all of his, kicks and blinding sleets and things like that to try to shut you down. I feel like Whiskey was pretty tested in that last game. There was some mild criticism for, maybe how he lined up his damage in some of those setups, but I do think overall there has been some improvements, and the fact that they're locking it in once again here, it does show that they have confidence in what Whiskey can do there. So I love to see it. Honestly, Fire Mage being super good right now in the meta, and the fact that they're willing to pick it up, it does show a lot of versatility there for the Golden Guardians, and I think in the long run, that's going to be very, very good for them, especially if they qualify for the circuit and they can bring it out there being even more comfortable at that point.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's nice to see Golden Guardians sort of leaning into being a more flexible team than maybe we've seen them in the past. And you're right, they're seeing a lot of success there with WizK on that Fire Mage. In what sort of situations do you feel like they would use the Shadow Priest over the Fire Mage Fen? I mean, it's definitely nice to have that choice in situations. Yeah,
I think in this particular matchup is just, I feel like you're just a target dummy. You're a punching bag on that Shadow Priest. And I do believe, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I do believe the reason why Golden Guardians is in the lower bracket right now is because they lost to OTK running Warrior Death Knight. So I think Hamsters and Hares probably knows that, and that's why they're picking this composition blind, and Golden Guardians decided to kind of scramble to come up with something different. And Rogue Mage Paladin actually seems like a pretty good answer for them. So I do like it. The Fire Mage, of course, going to provide a lot of that burst damage when combustion is up. And also, you can kind of just deny Roasties and Valido from really helping out Zach. So what WizK's main goal this game is if they're on him, he's just going to drag away from Zach. When Peekaboo's ready, he's going to stun Zach, and WizK is just going to use Dragon's Breath on Roasties and Valido, maybe drop a Ring of Frost, maybe not, just Dragon's Breath into a Nova, and that way he can get off his combustion clean. Roastie's not going to be able to intervene, Valido's not going to be able to anti-magic zone. If they can just kind of rinse, repeat those setups onto Zach, I feel like that's their ticket to victory.
Yeah, and we're going to see if they can find that ticket to victory here. We got game number 2. This is Golden Guardians map pick, opting for a little bit larger map here, and I do like that. And also Hamsters and Hares here, not going for that Mage Elemental. They know it means facing Golden Guardians on their strongest composition. Now we're going to see a big opener here. Combustion immediately trading out. Zach almost just going down before that meteor can even hit him there. What an excellent opener here for the Golden Guardians. And Belito not able to trinket trade out the AMZ means that they're going to just have to trade out that Divine Shield. A big opening now. They could blind Absturge, they could blind Zach, and they do actually while he's on that Forbearance. And now they're looking to set up here onto Roasties. Triple Blinding Sleep, triple Cindergosa. Peekaboo trinkets, tries to get the sap, but unfortunately not able to find it in time. Double Dragon's Breath coming out, double Ring of Frost, Smoke Bomb now secured, and this could just be over before it even started. Zach with no pro legendary, forced to use his trinket actually in that situation. Or I'm not sure, he has used his trinket on one frame, but on the other frame he still has it. So I think he did use his trinket there, if I'm going to be honest. That looked like a very dicey situation. I'd be surprised if he greeted that one.
Yeah, Roasties with a nice play as well, leaping out of the Ring of Frost, getting Rallying Cry, boosting Zach's health there. Peekaboo's in stealth, waiting for an attack. So far, their offense has been sick here onto Zach, and their crowd control has been excellent. Roasties pre-Bladestorms the Blinding Light, getting in range of Zach here for an intervene, and it looks like Zach still has that medallion. He will survive this attack. Although a bit unfortunate, as Roasties did make a nice outplay there to try and help him out, but it was not enough help. Peekaboo stunned up. They're swapping to him, trying to take him out, gripping Absturge into the fight now as well for a Hammer of Justice, and really starting to power down the damage. Peekaboo feints, and he's trying to pull away, but Absturge is still crowd-controlled. Peekaboo pops Cloak of Shadows on low health. He's got evasion. He doesn't want to overlap. He's trying to hold out here. Absturge sneaks up on Zach. He needs to stabilize Peekaboo as well as set WizK up at the same time, and that's a difficult task.
Ooh, Peekaboo getting low. Sacrifice trades from Absturge. This is a nice setup here. Polymorph into Sap. Rosty's forced to use the Die by the Sword in order to keep himself alive, but Zach easily tops him off using his Avenging Wrath. And now it looks like Rosty's will be okay, but I like that the Golden Guardians aren't just going after Zach. You really have to have multiple targets you can go after in this matchup, and I think the fact that Rosty's basically has no defensive cooldowns left leaves him wide open for an attack. WizK has his Combustion, so at this point, Golden Guardians can kind of pick their poison. Do we want to go after Zach? Do we want to go after Roasties? And it seems like Hamsters and Hares kind of realize that they're in trouble. They're going to be just going after Roasties, a full blind out onto Zach, into a full sap. Nicely done there by Peekaboo. Roasties is going to be sitting in the safety of that anti-magic zone. Peekaboo gets caught into a Stormbolt, and it looks like Hamsters and Hares should be able to survive this. Rallying Cry still available. Another sap goes out by Peekaboo, but it's Peekaboo on the back foot. Shadowy duel on Roasties to prevent any sort of heals. What is Zach going to be able to do? Does land a big heal on Roasties, and it looks like Hamsters and Hares hold on. Nice attempt there by the Golden Guardians, but the thing is, against this composition, if you're not isolating a target, it becomes really difficult to take them down. They can all back each other up really, really nicely. The Frost Death Knight has beautiful peels with the Blinding Sleet. Intervene from the Warrior. Zach obviously has a lot of heals, so if you want to take someone down, it has to be a 3 versus 1 situation.
Yeah, and I actually feel like when they did that combustion setup with the blind sap there, they had the Warrior and the DK kind of standing in that AMZ, and Zach was actually sap outside of it. I feel like one of the really important things to do as a mage is sometimes when you have those leftovers
nice
from the
dodge.
combustion. Ooh, beautiful setup here coming in. We're going to hold that thought for a little bit longer. Nice intervene, though, by Roasties. Going to make sure that they don't really force anything. They just get that divine protection there from Zach. He's going to have that... Divine Shield here as well, and now they're going after Roasties here. Combustion gets ripped out, and nice charge there from Roasties, kind of make him avoid that meteor right there. Zach now going to be able to break out of that CC chain. Belito once again stopping the chain here with that Cindergosa, but I think they can be a little bit more effective with these combustions. As soon as somebody trades an early cooldown, I want to see them go after somebody else with those leftovers. If you can just get a couple of Phoenix Flames and maybe, a few Pyros off on somebody else, you still have a lot of damage on that Fire Mage. You could potentially net yourself an additional cooldown, and that's kind of the thing here when you're playing against TSG. You need to try to accelerate the game here with clean setups and with a lot of swaps. Right now they're going after Zach here. Beautiful setup. It's looking clean. Double Ring of Frost. Could just be the Divine Shield here. Zach, though, with that Pro Legendary, he should be fine here. Uses that Kyrian Vial as well, and he should be completely fine here. And that Divine Favor is going to be big. He's going to get full HP there. And now Sheep onto Zach before he can cross the map and get a Hammer of Justice. Swapping back to Roasties. I got to say, the targeting from the Golden Guardians has been on point. Going after the healer, then crowd controlling him, going after the Warrior, then going after the healer once again here. So far, it's looking good, and we're just about to hit dampening here. Both teams looking somewhat even right now.
Roasty's still low on health. Zach trying to power him back up to full. Peekaboo using Shadowy Duel defensively there for a moment. Combustion gets popped by WizK. Don't know if he meant to do that. Maybe he's trying to get a mana. Even that seemed like a really odd combustion. He's actually just dying during his own combustion. Absturge is feared up into a full Hammer of Justice. He's Stormbolt. He has to Ice Block. Absturge is gripped into the fight. a huge amount of disruption. Absterge goes for a double blinding light on the grip. Nice punish by Absterge. Peekaboo sets up for the kill on Zach with the triple stun. Is it enough to get Divine Shield or a kill? Doesn't look like it. Zach's defensive War Stomp buying him a bit of time here to get around the corner. Peekaboo in pursuit. Roasties is trying to stick with him to keep him off of Zach, but Zach hasn't fully recovered. He's still quite low on health. Trying to catch a couple of Word of Glories that intervene up as well to redirect some damage. Ring of Frost trapping the team here. Interrupted, though, by Zach. Now interrupted again by Roasties. Double Dragon's Breath. Ring of Frost attempt by WizK, setting up for Sunlocks on Zach, but Peekaboo got Blinding Sleet at the same time into a Stormbolt. Nice setup. Absterge choosing to bop off the Stormbolt. Now they're polymorphing Zach, trying to make a swap to likely Roasties, dropping the Meteor here. Roasties going to trade Die by the Sword for that cooldown. Very important cooldown out of the way on the Warrior here. Zach still with no medallion. Blind coming up in about 30 seconds. Roasties intervening over, trying to intervene a stun. But I think Roasties is actually the target. He's very low. Rally at 20% health. Zach finally out of crowd control, connecting that sacrifice and stabilizing him. However, Combustion, Meteor are coming up, and so long as WizK is able to get those off to their full effectiveness, I'm very worried about Roasties in the future.
Yeah, I mean, certainly it looks a little bit scary for him right now. He does have his trinket, so I think if he is pretty heads up about that one. Peekaboo actually going over for a soul. Oh, looks very nicely done there by Zach. Peekaboo rolls over looking to get a stun. Zach gets a preemptive Hammer of Justice, and that kind of shuts down Peekaboo, but looks like Peekaboo should be able to get a re-stealth here. Zach needs to make sure that he is in combat, but a full polymorph lands from WizK. This is a big potential setup here on Roasties. Beautiful, intimidating shot. Peekaboo forced to trinket out, gets the resap onto Zach, but immediate anti-magic zone. There is no way Roasties goes down in this situation. WizK with no ice block, super vulnerable at net right now. They make a swap over onto Zach. Can Zach survive? Rip away over on WizK, and of course that Delirium and Heartstop aura make it so difficult for WizK to get on target. The Blessing of Freedom comes in from Absterge, and that's so crucial that Absterge is getting those Blessing of Freedoms on WizK so he can actually stay on target and get on top of Zach. One more blink coming in from WizK. Very close call there onto Zach, but if you look at mana, right now Hamsters and Hares, they're way ahead. WizK under fire. Looks like a trinket and a sacrifice do come in, so potential overlap there from the Golden Guardians, but they do manage to hold on. Sap now over onto Zach. Peekaboo once again setting his team up. Roasties forced to trade out the trinket and the Die by the Sword. Shadowy Duel comes in, but I don't think Peekaboo is going to be able to push through the defense of that Die by the Sword, and Roasties holds on, but a very nice attempt there by the Golden Guardians.
Yeah, and there they kind of swapped over to Zach with the just right after the combustion ended. If they did that swap a little bit earlier, they could have absolutely forced the bubble there. The combustion would have still been up for a little bit, but still Golden Guardians showing a lot of signs of life here, and Absterge actually able to get a drink there. Whoa. Peekaboo in a lot of trouble here. Activates his Cloak of Shadows and his evasion right there. I do believe Absterge was forced to use his human racial, try to dispel him there, and now Peekaboo is going to be able to escape that situation. WizK also under a little bit of fire here, but doing a good job so far kiting. Nice kidney shot here onto Zach. Let's see, can they force anything here? Valido doesn't have his anti-magic zone for a little while, and here comes the damage. No combustion to be found right now, though. Zach dropping dangerously low, but he puts his faith in that Prot Legendary, and it is going to repay its weight in Soul Ash. WizK dropping dangerously low here. A lot of good pressure coming out from Roasties as well as Valido. Absterge having to trade out that Blessing of Protection right there as the answer to that pressure. And WizK still taking a lot of damage here. Cauterized forced here. So much pressure coming out here from Roasties and Valido, doing such a good job here with that Warrior and that DK, just putting out pressure as soon as that setup is over. And I gotta give Roasties a lot of credit here. He's playing that alt Warrior, not something that we typically see him on, and he's been keeping his healer alive for a really long time so far. So really good job from him. And now looking to get aggressive onto WizK. No ice block for about 25 more seconds. Now 35 because of that Heartstop aura. And WizK looking to set up here now onto Roasties. There's a full blind. They got a sheep onto Valido. Can they swap it? He gets kicked, but Peekaboo's there with the follow-up. Saps the trinket. Peekaboo looking to kind of carry the game here. Gets another sap, but nice Stormbolt there by Roasties, going to shut down Peekaboo from using that kidney shot and potentially forcing out a bubble or a Blessing of Protection. Now Shadowy Duel coming out, and both of these teams so far playing excellently here, Sid.
Let's see if they can stay alive a little longer. Peekaboo vulnerable here with no medallion. WizK's block just came up, but Zach's in a stun. They're setting up on Roasties. Triple stun lock. Pillar of Frost though by Valido. He's counter pressuring. Valido's just trying to power down WizK here while the Golden Guardians go for a kill simultaneously. Zach denies it with sacrifice. Whiskey on the back foot needs to be careful. He's got ice block. They sacrifice instead. Cooldown's blown from both sides, but a significant mana advantage to Hamsters and Hares. Momentum and tempo in their favor now as well. How is Hamsters going to heal with 0 mana? He's just praying that they can survive to another Avenging Wrath. 13 seconds away here with dampening so high. He's going to need it, but he's used the rest of his mana before it even comes off cooldown. They set up for a stunlock onto Roasties. Can they take him down? Valito blocks the kill with anti-magic zone. Zach rolls up with divine favor. He gets spell stolen, counterspelled by Whiskey. Combustion gets popped by Whiskey, but anti-magic zone is still down, soaking up all the damage from the combustion. They follow up with a polymorph, and that does net a divine shield from Zach, putting Roasties behind, but Peekaboo's not in the fight. He's running away, trying to buy time for Absurds to heal, but there's no mana to heal with. Whiskey ice blocks the Abomination's limb. I think that's more than a fair trade. Roasties goes for a shatter, gets stunned on it. Absurds gets gripped in. Peekaboo gets gripped in. They get a triple setup here. It could be devastating for the Golden Guardians, but they got through Divine Shield. They got through the Medallion. They could set up for a kill if they got any crowd control for Roasties and Valito before doing so.
Ooh, Peekaboo going for the re-stealth. He needs to move in. Cheap shot onto Zach. Cheap shot onto Valito. Trying to keep his team alive. A beautiful, intimidating shout does come in. A full polymorph does land on Zach. Rosie, the target of choice, in a full kidney shot. Forced to trinket out and trade out that die by the sword. They are just going for it. Hamsters and Hares, they are throwing caution to the wind, and they manage to crush WizK. And they take down the seed. Doesn't look like there's going to be anything left. And they do squash it like a bug. Hamsters and Hares looking so durable and really well practiced on this composition. At 40% dampening, once again, are able to claim victory, and they're up 2-0. And at this point, if you're the Golden Guardians, what do? I mean, you're in the lower bracket because of this composition. You're about to be eliminated because of this composition. I feel like they have to make a change.
Really, really strong showing there defensively just from these guys. And they just kind of rotated through their cooldowns. They had the pressure, and at the end they're using their bubble like that offensively. And just trying to go for the kill, not allowing Absters to get any breathing room or to have any chance of resetting there. So really good job.
Certainly up 2-0 now, finding themselves on match point in this best of 5 series. If you guys are watching from home, you want to check out the gear that these guys are using, awc.jcd.tv, or you can check out that bottom bar down below. But these guys are having a pretty good run so far, their first match of the day. Here's the replay from those final moments as well.
Yeah, and at this point, Abster's completely tapped. He has the bubble. He's going to use it right here to escape the situation. And Peekaboo and the Golden Guardians, they're basically just trying to set up a drink here. But at this point, Whiskey so far behind in terms of defense. Zach so far ahead on his mana. And of course, they have the trinket of Roasties. He uses it immediately, aggressively there. The egg is going to get squashed, and that is going to be it here. Hamsters and Hares taking it on the large map here as well. And I got to agree with what you said earlier in the pregame, Van. Just sticking to that Warrior DK here until they're forced off of it definitely seemed like the right choice here.
Yana, I'm curious if they even do swap off of it, and now we're going to have Golden Guardians choosing their map once again, and they've stuck with it for these first 2 games, and they're looking super solid right now, and it's kind of up to Golden Guardians to try and switch this up here. But yeah, like Fen said, they're going to have to figure something out here because these guys are just looking rock solid on this DK Warrior composition. Supatis, if you were in their position, what do you think their best move is? Is this kind of their only real answer right now on the side of Golden Guardians that they're trying, or do you think there's something else that they have in their composition pool?
I feel like when in doubt, Rogue, Shadow Priest, Shaman out. Like they could just break out the main composition, even though it's not really the meta at the moment. I feel like that's kind of just their last trump card. Hope that it works. Get the classic Golden Guardians reverse sweep against Hamsters and Hares, because otherwise the Rogue Mage, it felt like they had a really strong beginning part of that game, but then after that they just fell off for quite a long time, and then as a result the Warrior Death Knight just going to overwhelm them with damage. Also, as a mage, I'm trying to think of like some of your most difficult tested matchups. I feel like a Frost Death Knight is one of them. If you're not experienced into a Frost Death Knight, it changes the way you play your class completely, because all of your cooldowns are so much longer than they normally are. So on top of maybe not having as much experience as a Fire Mage, for WizK, going into a Frost Death Knight is adding to that. So maybe just go back to mains. Maybe they could run a Cleave, but I feel like the Cleave options they have aren't going to beat a Frost Death Knight. Like Peekaboo's been practicing Windwalker. Windwalker Warrior doesn't sound great into Frost Death Knight either. They really don't have much options. I think go mains, try to utilize Hex and Earth Grab Totem, go for kills on the healer maybe, or something like that with Shadow Priest Rogue Shaman. That's what you're most practiced at. That's what you're going to really need when you're facing someone who's playing as well as Valido is at the moment, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, we certainly will. And, even if they are Hamsters and Hares, doing pretty solidly well on this composition that they're currently running with the Death Knight and the Warrior, even if Golden Guardians does choose a different composition here and wins this second game, and their draft process that they don't have to pick a blind composition. Hamsters and Hares, they have a pretty deep composition pool. We've talked about them before. They're very flexible. Even Zach, the healer, plays Windwalker. He plays other DPS classes. These guys, I feel like, even though we've only seen 2 games from them, are starting to look like a really, really nice team. They don't currently have any points here for getting into that circuit series, but 2-0 currently against Golden Guardians, super strong contender. Tiger's Peak, that's going to be the map that we're going to. Hamsters and Hares going to be sticking with that same composition, and now it's Golden Guardians' turn to pick something as well, Ben, and that was like an instant lock-in.
Yeah, I think, like I said, what are you going to do about it is the attitude that they have to have, and the Golden Guardians so far hasn't been able to do anything about it, so no reason not to lock it in again. I feel like the Golden Guardians, I wouldn't even be honestly, if they tried the Rogue Mage Paladin again, I wouldn't be like, oh, they're throwing, like maybe that really is their best matchup, and it does seem like they can win. So it's just difficult. Like I said, basically when you're playing that composition into what Hamsters and Hares is running, you have to have an isolated target. You have to have someone who's by himself, and everyone else needs to be crowd controlled. And if that doesn't happen, they'll be able to stop everything you do. If Roasties is not crowd controlled, intervene. Your goes over 100%. If Alito's not crowd controlled, you're both grouped together, you're both blinded, then you're both double stunned, and it just becomes really, really difficult. So, or anti-magic zone drops out. So you really have to be good and well coordinated at okay. Basically, you have to get a double Dragon's Breath as you go after Zach. And I mean, we saw at the beginning of that game, their first go, Felito and Roasties couldn't help out Zach, and it was Divine Shield in 1 millisecond. Like literally, well, not literally, but what I'm saying. It was a really quick Divine Shield. So that's what happens if you can find those 3 versus 1 situations. If you can't, then it becomes really difficult. I mean, if I was going to throw any criticism to Whiskey, I feel like sometimes the combustion gets ripped out when it necessarily doesn't need to. Like there was one go in particular where Peekaboo was in a shadowy duel with Zach, and he was trying to line of sight, and WizKid just combusted, and everyone was full health. And then 10 seconds later, Peekaboo gets a smoke bomb kidney shot on Zach, and there was just no damage available anymore from WizK. So if he had damage, all of a sudden you get Divine Shield, and the game plays out a little bit different. So I don't know if that's Assassination. Okay. Assassination is getting... You know what? I was talking to Absurge a little bit, and he said that they played Assassination a decent amount on the tournament realm. It actually wasn't too bad. And that's one of the specializations, is it is getting some buffs in the upcoming patch. Those buffs aren't in yet, but maybe there's hope for the Assassination dream. Let's see. I don't know. I'm not completely sold on it because I feel like you need cross crowd control, and the biggest problem with Assassination is the playstyle of like I feel like at this point you're trying to beat Hamsters and Hares at their own game. Like you bring in an Assassination rogue, what you're trying to do is like out consistent pressure them, but I don't know if you're ever going to be able to do that. I feel like you need subtlety to like control everybody and isolate that target, and I think Assassination's way worse at that. So I'm not sure how this is going to work, but I don't mind that they're trying something new.
Yeah, and they weren't working with Sub Rogue, and maybe they just didn't think that they were going to be able to pull it off for game number 3 here. This is kind of their last chance, so I guess this may be to them their only option here. But what about you, Zico and Sifties? How are you guys feeling about this spec switch from Peekaboo?
I think their plan is to just go Assassination and sit on Valido the entirety of the game. Now, I wanted to see a spec switch, but I'm going to be honest, it wasn't on the Rogue. I was wondering maybe Absterge has been practicing his prop paladin. We're not going to be seeing it, unfortunately.
There's no way. There's absolutely no way he has played prop paladin. There's no way.
I feel like if we were to see that, it would be cup number 3.
Golden Guardians will never
AWC.
play a tank spec. Otherwise, they would just look like the biggest hypocrites. They will never. They will never play a tank spec.
You got to do what it takes to win. I feel like a tank here could be pretty solid.
Is winning hypocritical? Super Tees?
For them, I think.
Is that not ultimate?
There's no way.
Yes.
There's no way. It's like their brand. It's like their brand to hate tanks. There's no way that they will play a
man.
tank.
Okay, well, one can dream. But anyways, it's game number 3, Golden Guardians versus Hamsters and Hares. Golden Guardians on their last chance to turn this series around. Hamsters and Hares up 2-0.
Well, I mean, assassination. Who would have thought? Like I said, so I guess I mentioned at the beginning of the day that we saw some new things coming in from Europe, and I guess we're getting some new things in North America as well. Golden Guardians, Peekaboo on the Assassination Rogue, looking to really mix it up here. I don't know. I don't know what to think about this one, but we'll see. It's certainly going to be lacking a little bit of control, but that single target damage potentially up. Maybe not, though.
We're going to see. Right now, I think they're going to look for a sap onto Zach here. Are they going to go after Roasties here with the Assassination? But nice preemptive Blade Storm. Roasties now having an opportunity to counterattack. He's going to use that Storm Bolt right there onto Peekaboo, shutting down basically the entirety of the opener here. But no real offense being used here on the side of the Golden Guardians. And it's going to be interesting to see here what they end up doing. I think they're going to try to play the long game, like Benrique already mentioned. They're going to try to beat them at their own game, try to win on mana, try to win with just a lot of pressure later on in the match. There's the blind onto Zach here, going after Roasties here. Once again, Combustion gets ripped out, overlapped with the Vendetta, so they get a lot of defense there. They don't find the follow-up CC, so that first double cooldown stack really not netting too much here on the side of Golden Guardians, and now they're going to be on the back foot here a little bit, Sid.
Well, let's see what they can get. Oh, no, Peekaboo down at 50% health. He also loses mobility, not being subtlety, no double shadow step against a Frost Death Knight. This could be difficult for him to actually navigate onto different targets. And if he wants to attack a DPS, a Frost Death Knight and a Warrior hitting 2 targets, that's not going to work. There's no way that's going to work long term. They are going to absolutely get shredded. This strategy could backfire heavily. They're trying to kite and avoid Valito and Roasties. I think this is wiser than what they were trying to do earlier, just attacking them. They are not going to outdamage a Warrior and a Death Knight on these specializations. That Death and Decay snipes Peekaboo out of that re-stealth. Nice play by Valito. You can tell that he's come back to play. He's competed for multiple years. I feel like, maybe he does not like one of the most popular streamers, but this guy is definitely a top contender for one of the best Frost Death Knights in the game, and really getting an opportunity to show that off here. Zach is no one really to kind of scoff at either on that Holy Paladin, and Roasties has really stepped up, having been in the past really only playing Rogue and riding the bench often, coming in clutch now on that Arms Warrior for his team here in this series. This could be a serious contender for the entire tournament. They only need to win one more game, but WizK looks to deny that with the Combustion popped onto Roasties. Big pressure out here. Zach silenced up for a moment, but now out of crowd control, looking to restabilize. Valito, his threats are coming up in about 1 second. That Syndragosa Empowered Rune Weapon, a lot of damage for him available if they can grip targets together. Peekaboo's trying to avoid that by playing far away, but WizK is absolutely getting cut down. Peekaboo stunned up on a swap by Roasties and Valito, but Peekaboo pre-kidney shot Roasties on the Stormbolt, denying a lot of damage.
Yeah, I mean, Peekaboo has had to run a lot more in this game, and you can tell he doesn't have that same kind of control, but there has been good damage on Roasties. If you look at mana, it's kind of even. Absurd a little bit behind at this point, still about 2 minutes away from dampening. Peekaboo trying to move in right now, but anytime he does, Roasties and Valito are more than happy to just chop him up. Full kitty shot now on Roasties in defensive stance. Zach, no crowd control on him whatsoever. And it looks like he'll be able to easily kind of power through that damage. WizK right now at the same time under fire. Big damage coming up from Valito and Roasties. WizK trying to kite away, but the Abomination Limb gripping everyone in. Everybody's going to get cleaved up. Absurge gets up in. Double stun comes in. This could be the ice block from WizK. Mirror images trade out to avoid a little bit of damage. Full kidney shot now on Roasties. Sap over onto Zach. He's forced to trade. Nicely done there by Peekaboo, sapping it. And it looks like he's actually going to get taken down. It gets dropped. Peekaboo making such beautiful plays there. Gets the blind onto Zach. Zach forced a trinket into a Garrode Silence. The smoke bomb drops down. The anti-magic zone, too little, too late. And Golden Guardians with the Assassination Rogue. They make it work, and they're back in this series.
All right, I guess Assassination Rogue is the answer here. Pro Paladins, Assassination Rogues. The meta is just... Are people just not playing these specs, or what? Are we going to see an Arcane Mage next? Probably not, let's be honest. But this setup here was actually really nice. Whiskey just fireballing here, getting his combustion. You can see it's a couple of seconds left on that one right there. And this is the combustion vendetta combo here. This is very deadly damage here. And you're going to see here Peekaboo sidestepping that Cindergosa, goes for the blind here. And here we go. There's the kidney shot. There's the Envenom with the vendetta. And Whiskey really holding on to that combustion lay here. And they just get that Garrote Silence out of the blind into the smoke bomb. And that Whiskey with that late combust Zaryu TM coming in there and getting his team to win there with that vendetta damage as well. Very interesting. And also look at that damage from Peekaboo on the Assassination Rogue. Not super high.
Yeah,
there,
what are you talking? What are you talking about? Look at that. What are you talking?
Why did they win?
I think he's running the big Envenom crit, and then they just didn't respond. I mean, that was Envenom and Combustion and Avenging Wrath. That was 3 cooldowns. Zach got silenced on his Trinket. He should have just Trinket Sacrifice. That was literally the all-in from the Golden Guardian. So I feel like Roasties only died because maybe Hamsters and Hares were like, oh yeah, Assassination. That's Envenom got popped. We should do something. Like, that was literally all 3 players with their hardest hitting cooldowns, and then they had Zone, Parry, Trinket Sack, and they just pressed them all really low HP. I feel like that's not repeatable for the Golden Guardians.
I mean, I think
You don't believe
also
in the dream, Sid?
Not when the other team has every button and they don't press them until they're at 1%. I don't, and it was a really slow death. It wasn't like that was like, oh my god, he died from 100%. That was a very slow, extended, painful death.
You're like the most pessimistic person on this desk, I feel like, Sid.
That's not pessimism.
That's what I feel like. Sometimes he's the most optimistic. Like, he wants to believe in like the compositions we never would imagine work. But
That's true.
You know.
Yeah, you're on your own. You march to the beat of your own drum, Sid. Never change. But no, I think my favorite part of that match too was like the slow realization on Peekaboo's face and in his player cam that they actually pulled that off. It was just like a slow, like, oh, we did it. But yeah, we'll have to see if they can pull that off for a game number 2 here. If they can tie it up, it's going to be a reverse sweep for them if they want to win this series on the side of Golden Guardians. But yeah, it sounds like you guys kind of think that's not going to work again with Assassination Rogue.
I don't know. I would actually laugh really hard. Oh, they are going to lock it in again. So we're seeing the same match, but I would laugh really hard if they locked out of it, even though they won. Yeah. But yeah, not happening. Sorry.
Not happening as in they're not going to win a second one? Or what?
No. I just well, maybe that's their attitude, because that, I mean, Hamsters and Hares had everything. Like, Golden Guardians has to be like, okay, either they are like, okay, this is amazing, I can't believe it, or maybe they're like, okay, they literally had everything. They choked there at the end, but. The Garrote Silence, a bit of a surprise. I mean, that's one nice thing that Peekaboo has, right? He can Garrote Silence the Zach during Whiskey's combustion, and that allows him to get off that damage a little bit longer. So, bit of a surprise tactic there. I mean, the last person I saw playing Assassination was Colo, and I played with him, and it went okay, but it didn't go too great. But yeah, definitely not one of the more popular specializations right now, but Golden Guardians, they're willing to try it out, and I like the fact that they're willing to try it out, and it buys them, a point in this series. We're going to Game 4 now. They still have to win 2 more if they want to come back and actually eliminate Hamsters and Hares. Once again, this is an elimination series, so really scary times here for Golden Guardians. I feel like for Hamsters and Hares, their path to victory is a lot clearer. Like, just play consistent, trade your cooldowns at the right time, and you'll probably win this game. Golden Guardians really going to have to spice it up if they want to win.
They certainly do. Hamsters and Hares on match point. Or is Golden Guardians going to tie this up 2-2 on game number 4?
Yeah, and look at Peekaboo. He's got his game face on right now. He's smiling, just coming off of that win. But now his focus is definitely shifting. He's very serious right now, knowing that, he gets taken out there by the Death and Decay. Not the best start here. Valido getting that Chains of Ice here as well. They're not going to find that opener, but last game they did not have a great opener. There's the kidney shot immediately coming in here. No crowd control whatsoever. They're just going to pop combustion there, and I like what they're doing here a lot more. Peekaboo in a stun, actually going to take a lot of damage here. Steps to Zach, gets the blind there as well, and Zach now trinketing as well. It looks like Hamsters and Hares are a lot more responsive now with their cooldowns early on. Looks like they actually are maybe trading a little bit ineffective here, right here. And so far they have the popped right now. Peekaboo still taking a lot of damage though. So down here, beautiful bubble and that sacrifice coming out from Hamsters. That was a lot of pressure, and that's going to be overlapped with the Cloak of Shadows, and that is still rolling for a couple of seconds here onto Roasties. But I think that they're spacing out the combustion as well as that vendetta is really good because now Whiskey's going to have that back, but still they're taking so much damage here in that match.
I feel like they're steamrolling Peekaboo right now. They've burned through every cooldown in 1 minute. I mean, some of these games have gone to 40% plus dampening, and they've burned everything from Peekaboo. They are just riding Peekaboo the whole game in this match, and they're starting to fall apart. Whiskey gets peeled on his combustion by Valito. Big chill streak combo. Huge damage on match point. Peekaboo vanishes, ducking for cover, healing up with the Crimson Vial. Abster's trying to pick his team back up with that Avenging Wrath. They don't manage to get cauterized from Whiskey. Whiskey repositioning away from his team. Important to not stack up. I like the positioning from the Golden Guardians here, but their threats are not available for quite some time. No Envenom. Blinding Light on Absterge. If there's a Stormbolt here, Peekaboo stuns up Roasties. It's run, Peekaboo, run. He needs to avoid combat at all costs and buy time for Absterge. Absterge ducks around the corner, picking Peekaboo back up into the battle. Whiskey Frostnova's the warrior. The Golden Guardians need to stall. They don't have any pressure. They have no defense. They somehow need to prevent themselves from dying for quite some time.
Yeah, I mean, let's see what they can do. Peekaboo and Absterge, they overlapped a little bit earlier on with the Blessing of Protection and Trinket, and that is just such a crucial thing for Peekaboo to survive. They need to have outs for the stun lock combo. Roasty's down to Kidney Shot. The Abomination Limb comes in. Valito and Roasty's looking to get really aggressive, but Peekaboo, he's just been on the run the entire game. I mean, that's why his damage is so low. He just cannot sit and trade with Valito and Roast. He's now caught into a full stun. He's got no outs. He gets gripped away. Needs a Blessing of Protection. Needs help. Absterge coming in with big heals, and it looks like Peekaboo will be able to survive. Now Whiskey potentially going for a polymorph. He gets shut down there by Roasty. Peekaboo just caught into the chains of ice, looking at him just trying to waddle to his target, but that is not an easy thing to do. Freedom goes out onto Whiskey. Valito keeping up those chains, just really keeping everyone snared. Beautiful Dragon's Breath coming in from Whiskey. Is there going to be a polymorph on Zach? He might get denied by Valito. No, the polymorph lands. They have an opportunity. A little bit of damage here onto Roasties. Peekaboo trying to set up a big Envenom lands, but a double Blinding Sleet from Valito. Another huge setup with the Cinder Ghost's Fury. Peekaboo right now forced to use the Cloak of Shadows as well as the Feint to just run away and try to avoid some damage. The cleave damage is too high. Absterge is really struggling. Whiskey luckily still has his Cauterize and Ice Block of Freedom to get away. The Golden Guardians recover, but if you look at mana, Absterge is burning through a lot of his mana in order to stay alive. And I mean, at the same time, Zach is also, I mean, I feel like the overall damage for Peekaboo and Whiskey is really, really low, but somehow Zach is burning through a lot of his mana.
Yeah, and Whiskey has his combustion now as well. He's just looking to pop that on cooldown here, and there it is. He's going to be pressing that immediately here. Valito not going to be able to trade super effectively with that anti-magic zone, but now a big setup coming out onto Peekaboo. Look at Roasties. He's going to maybe fall here. There's finally the anti-magic zone being traded for that combustion, and this is looking a lot better. They're just tunneling damage now. Absterge having to trade out the sacrifice there. Peekaboo has no trinket. That next setup could be absolutely deadly, and it's coming right now. There's the full fear. Do they have the damage? Zach is there, ready to back him up as well. Hammer of Justice dropping down onto Absterge. Peekaboo with a kind of defensive kidney shot here, and there's a Blinding Light as well. Peekaboo still taking a lot of damage here. Whiskey just looking to reset his combustion. Gonna be up in about 15 seconds once he gets out of that Heart Stop aura. And Whiskey now looking for a sheep, gets denied on it once again by Valito. That Road Silence coming in a little bit too late. There is the Dragon's Breath. He gets interrupted on that as well. Whiskey now trying to build up a little distance here. Peekaboo just spamming out the throw knife here, trying to get some pressure here. And here we go. Big combustion smoke bomb. This could just be the game. Blinding Sleep once again saves the day. Triple Cindergosa by Valito, and Peekaboo forced to sit in that Blessing of Protection. Nice trade there by Absterge, but this game is actually spiraling a little bit out of control here for Hamsters and Hares. A lot of more pressure and win conditions on the side of Golden Guardians. That next combustion as well, not going to have that anti-magic zone as an answer. If Whiskey can just spam out a few more fireballs here, they can set themselves up for a nice win condition here, potentially onto Zach or onto Roasties. They're going after Zach. Beautiful kidney shot with the Garrote Silence. Absterge with the backup
hammer.
There's the Hammer of Justice. Big damage coming in. Roasties back him up with the Intervene with the Battle Master as well from Zach, and it looks like he is going to survive, but this game is just all over the place, and we just entered dampening here, Sid.
Golden Guardians refusing to die here. Peekaboo's so slippery, and you can't use taunt on players, but I feel like Peekaboo's got permanent taunt on Valito and Roasties, just baiting them to chase him throughout the game, and they haven't been able to get out any damage as a result. Hamsters and Hares need to figure out something here, because mana's actually even. Very surprising here in game number 2. They stun up Peekaboo with that Abomination Limb, pulling the whole team together and cleaving them apart. Peekaboo trades out Trinket, Cloak of Shadows, trying to retreat away from the AoE. Whiskey tries to counter pressure with the combustion. He's trying to pull out some cooldowns. They manage to get Rally. They blind Zach. They get the medallion. Nice play there by Peekaboo in the back line, getting that crowd control. Roasties trades die by the sword. That's a perfect situation. They got exactly what they wanted to from that setup. But Whiskey's low on health, trying to retreat away. They could proc cauterize at 10%. Abster's trying to pick him up. He doesn't have a lot of powerful cooldowns. Really slow Holy Lights coming in onto Whiskey. Whiskey dropping that rune of power, but Peekaboo now in trouble. They bop out Peekaboo. He's on the run, rotted down below half. Abster's struggling to pick up his team here, trying to retreat and run laps on the bottom side. Match point, facing elimination. They cannot afford to lose.
Yeah, this is such a devastating moment here. They need to figure something out, but there's just so many cooldowns available for the side of Hamster and Hares. Zach's mana is actually surprisingly low. Whiskey getting low once again, trying to run away. Hamster's using the Divine Favor to try to top him off. Peekaboo's still on the run in this matchup. Rosy's struggling to get to his target. Stun comes in from Bolito. Big damage coming out, but double blinding sleet interrupt onto Whiskey. Who are they going after? And unfortunately, it doesn't look like they really have a great target. Going after Peekaboo now. It's full Storm Bolt. Peekaboo getting torn apart, but big heals from Abster. He has his Venging Wrath up at 12% dampening, easily healing himself up. And a full Polymorph now lands on Zach. Divine Shield trades. Anti-Magic Zone as well. Golden Guardians have a surprising amount of pressure in this situation. Zach's mana is not looking great. He's got no Trinket. He's got no Divine Shield. Can they actually take down Roasties? Peekaboo's still just kiting with that freedom. And all of a sudden, it looks like Golden Guardians actually has a clear path to victory. They just need one good crowd control chain on Zach. Peekaboo just has to survive a little bit longer. The sacrifice trades out by Absurge, keeping Peekaboo alive. A full kidney shot lands on Roasties. Zach, unfortunately, doesn't really have too much to work with. That's his last sacrifice as well, and I feel like the Golden Guardians, they've put themselves in a situation where they can actually win this game.
Absolutely agree with you there, Van. They're actually ahead on mana right now. If they can just keep kiting here, Peekaboo needs to be careful. Abster sat down for a little sip there as well. Actually managed to get a tick or two right there. Whiskey still with his Ice Block. Might need to trade it here. He's holding on to it, and now this could be very, very dangerous. That Vendetta is going to come up in 1 second. Peekaboo might just go for the trigger right away, and he does. And that's going to be the trade there with the Die by the Sword, that next combustion. No answer, and it is coming up ever so fast. Whiskey, what are you going to do right now? Just soaking up the Blaze Storm, goes for the shifting power, gets the freedom, blinks back to safety here with Absturge, and one more fireball, and he's going to have it right now. He should have pump it on that fireball. Here we go. Big damage coming out to get the full blind onto Zach. No trade coming out though. Whiskey still taking a lot of damage behind that pillar. Double Syndragosa. If he has to ice block there with his combustion up, that would be devastation. Whiskey forced to trade here, and he does hold on to the cauterize. Ice blocks there, and now they're swapping over to Peekaboo. They got the Hodge here onto Absturge. Big Divine Favor coming out here from Absturge. Going for a big heal here onto Peekaboo. Absturge still with those wings, able to keep his team in the fight, and this one is going down to the wire, Sid.
There's no mana left for either side at this point. Are both teams going to retreat away, try and drink? It looks like Zach wants to drink. They're trying to buy the late game advantage. Peekaboo's moving in. He distracts the drink around the corner, denying some mana region, but he's so low on health. He gets stunned up. Absturge needs to help him.
No.
No way at 10%. Absturge clutches it out with a big heal, keeping Peekaboo alive at 25. Smoke bomb power play. Roasties breaks out of the stun, trying to get in line of sight of Zach here. Whiskey gets double blinded by Bolito. Perfect heals by Bolito. Double Dragon Smith though sets up. Zach breaks out of blinding light there, but now he's susceptible to blind in the future. I don't know, blind's pretty far away. I don't think we're seeing that, but combustion's available. This combustion basically needs to win the game, I think, for Whiskey at this point. He has to set it up perfectly. Who are they going to go after? He's popping off with the combustion. Anti-magic zone from Bolito. Solid defense from him throughout this series now. Peekaboo's very low on health. No mana remaining. No avenging wrath. They're chasing down Peekaboo, but that might be a bait. Maybe they should switch back to the mage. Peekaboo's still at half, trying to set up here. Gets gripped back away from Zach. He's got no mobility. He's in trouble. Sacrifice at 10%. Absurge's cooldowns coming up in the nick of time. Just the classic Golden Guardians trying to make the move here at such deep dampening against all odds with nothing left. Zach stunned up. Peekaboo swapping over, but Absurge gets gripped into the fight. Peekaboo is still low. Dampening's just getting higher and higher. Peekaboo Vulpin shifts away. Roasties can't keep up. He's going to go after Whiskey. Absurge has nothing left for mana. He can't do anything at this point. One Divine Toll comes out into another one. Big triple stun though. Chill Streak bounces. Peekaboo dodges it with excellent positioning here. They're desperate. They polymorph Zach. This do or die. This Vendetta needs to net a kill, but Bolito shuts down the Vendetta with a blinding sleet. Absurge with a big holy light off the backside. Gets a huge heal. Peekaboo's got evasion. He needs to make something happen with this. They've got nothing left here. I feel like I've been saying that for 5 minutes, and they're still playing. Blind bubble. They did it. No way. Combustion comes out.
Oh, it's not over.
Oh, stun on Absurge. Bubble. Does he have mana? I don't know if Belito can
Vanish.
do this by himself. Oh, no!
Oh!
So close. Peekaboo barely holding on. Absurge needs to top him off. Peekaboo trying to get away, but there's just nothing. Belito's all over him. Can he take him down? Obliterate's coming in. Peekaboo on the run. Golden Guardians, they just have to hold on a little bit longer. The kidney shot does land. Belito breaks
Venging
out.
Wrath?
Still trying to chase him down. Zach in desperation just runs out of healing, and Golden Guardians, they tie it up. The assassination. Look at Peekaboo. He
Look
can't
at him
believe it. He's just laughing on the run the whole game, but somehow the pressure they're able to put out, it actually taxed Zach on all his mana. Unbelievable. Golden Guardians, they may have figured out an answer.
What a crazy game there. Peekaboo staying on the move for, about 10 minutes or something. That entire match basically just running, and they finally find that win condition deep into dampening. And Absturge, what a performance as well from this man here. All his ult, that Holy Paladin, able to keep his rogue alive. So many close calls here. And even here in the replay, you can see Whiskey here about to get that combustion here. And, they're already peeling that Vendetta because Zach was forced to trade out that Blessing of Protection earlier. So they have a clean win condition right now onto Roasties. And as soon as that combustion comes off cooldown, you're going to see Whiskey just pulls the trigger. There's a kidney shot. There's the blind. Zach has nothing. Uses his Divine Shield, but no actual heals here. And Peekaboo, once again, just returning to that run strategy, just running for his life, going for a little restuff there as well. And they're able to find the kill. And look at Peekaboo's damage. I feel like it's so low, but it just burst damage. Like all of that damage is just in Venom and him throwing his knife to just keep poisons, keep slow to prevent himself from just surviving. What a match.
Do you guys, I actually have a question. Do you guys know if Peekaboo on the Assassination Rogue has a stronger Mortal Wounds effect?
It's
Yes.
slightly, I think. Yeah, slightly stronger.
Yeah,
I think
so,
Asa is looking better than Sub. Asa's definitely looking better than Sub. That game looked like a better showing of it than the last one. Well, that's why I wasn't sold on it.
Assassination's actually getting some
Asa
buffs,
might just
too.
be. I think it's better than Sub after the buffs for sure. After the buffs, it's 100%.
Who knows? I don't know for sure,
Yes.
but in this matchup, it's not looking too bad. It's looking a little bit more reliable than Subtlety. The thing about Subtlety is the hit and run playstyle. It just makes it so it's very predictable when you do your go, and as long as they defend against the go, you have no damage. Whereas this, it's like they're kiting, they're running, they get the kidney shot, and I don't know. It's looking okay.
Seen all kinds of specs switch it up. We're seeing Prod Paladins, we're seeing Assassination Rogues, Zico wants to see an Arcane Mage.
Not gonna happen.
If we see a Mistweaver Monk, that's when you know.
That's when you know.
That's when we know. That's when they've done the cube. Production has done the cube thing a couple times on us, and now we're really in the
Our reality
upside.
has been shifted.
Exactly.
Spent a
But
bit
yeah,
too
now
much
we're up.
time in the maw.
So true. All that time without mounts has just made everybody go crazy. So 2-2 right now. We are going to be going to a Game 5. Golden Guardians winning that last game against Hamsters and Hares. They are one game away. They're one victory away from reverse sweeping this team in game number 1 here. Hamsters and Hares versus Golden Guardians, both facing elimination from this tournament, as this is an elimination round. Now Hamsters and Hares will be choosing their map here, and I don't feel like we're going to be able to force them off of this composition, Zico.
I'm not sure here. I feel like the ball is in Golden Guardians court. If you're Hamsters and Hares, you're like, well, it felt like we should have won here, but we didn't. So are we going to swap to a Mage Ellie? What are we going to do here? I mean, Tolvir is definitely still available in that map selection. Golden Guardians, they're just going to most likely blind lock that Assassination Fire Mage. So at this point, if you're Hamsters and Hares, you can go for that super big map and try to set up a Wizard Cleave, or you can go to Hook Point, or okay, so they're going to go for the Warrior Mage here.
Oh.
They're going to be swapping it up, and that is going to be very devastating because, I think the Warrior is just going to be bringing a little bit more consistent damage to the table, a little bit more everything to the table compared to that Assassination Rogue, and you are going to have a Mage main to match Whiskey on that Mage as well.
Yeah, and they're going to have a lot of space as well, Hamsters and Hares, to work around here on Empyrean Domain. Do we feel like we're going to see Peekaboo maybe struggling to make any connections here, Ven, against Hamsters and Hares, given the size of this map?
I don't want to be a naysayer, but I feel like this is going to be a tough matchup for Golden Guardians. I mean, we saw in that last game, for Peekaboo to survive, he was running 95% of the game. He was just running, hiding. And on this particular match, I feel like Hamsters and Hares, they have a very clear advantage with that warrior. I'd say more consistent damage, potentially more utility. He's going to have more uptime, a lot more durable. But who knows? I mean, Golden Guardians, they might be able to pull it off. They already have won 2 games with Assassination Rogue, something I didn't believe was possible, but they've done it. So, I mean, you cannot count them out. You really never can. This roster is absolutely insane at just pulling these tricks out of their hat, making something work when nothing else is. But I think Hamsters and Hares, they have the right idea. Just get rid of the cleave and, play Warrior Mage Paladin. This composition is super good, and it's really good in like the Mage Paladin mirrors as well. We see it being used against Windwalker monks, and I think it could be even more effective against the Assassination Rogue.
Yeah, you're so right, Ven, about this team Golden Guardians. We've seen them pull it off so many times when we didn't think they had an answer. They came up with something new and won some incredible series in the past, and they may just do that here once again. But Hamsters and Hares also on fire as well in this matchup. But it's Golden Guardians versus Hamsters and Hares on match point.
All right, let's see what they can get done here. It's a big map, but also, I don't know, Golden Guardians, when they can drag the game on like that and then just start making miracles happen deeper into dampening, I wonder if that might actually be what they'll utilize here, or if they'll play aggressive with Assassination, because we have not seen it yet in Shadowlands, especially in a mage mirror matchup like this. The cleave made more sense, straightforward, just do damage, get crowd control, but here, getting set up and stopping and getting cross crowd control will be much more difficult as Assassination. Both mages invisibility at the moment, waiting for each other to come out of stealth. Peekaboo's ready to go. Well, who's he going to open on? Is he going for Zach? He's trying to sneak up on Zach, maybe a blind from stealth. Curious to see what he decides to do here. A cheap shot, setting up the team, silencing the mage. Roasty's pre-Blade Storms. Nice play by Roasty's, avoiding the crowd control. But this is a big power play on match point, and it looks like Floor Mat is able to blink out an alter time. Pre-alter time on all of the Golden Guardians cooldowns there. That was an excellent play by Floor Mat.
Yeah, nicely done. Shifting power comes out, and you can see Roasty's all over Whiskey at this point of the game. Hammer of Justice on Absturge. He uses every man for himself and get the counter Hammer of Justice. Now full polymorph lands on Absurge. Floor Mat getting great crowd control. WizK a little bit on the back foot right now, forced to run away and hide. A kidney shot lands here from Peekaboo. And this is where we can start really, comparing a big damage on Floor Mat, surprising damage. Peekaboo with a big Envenom there. And we'll see. I mean, this pressure isn't too bad coming in from the Golden Guardians. And in terms of mana, relatively even between both these Paladins. And we've seen these Mage Paladin mirrors go on for quite some time. Sometimes it does take a little bit of dampening to get things going. But if you get the right crowd control, you can definitely end the game early. Smoke Bomb, kidney shot lands. Peekaboo just going for it. Floor Mat blinks out, but he's still so low on health. And he's very far away from Zach. Zach gets caught into a cheap shot. And it looks like there's going to be no follow-up crowd control from WizK, but still, Peekaboo really putting a lot of pressure on Floor Mat. This is unexpected. Whoa. They get cauterized. What on earth is happening? They're
getting blocked?
Right now?
They might just be getting the ice block here. Whiskey ripping out the combustion. No kleptomania available. Look at those fireballs doing tons of damage. If they have anything for Zach here, that could easily be the ice block. Doesn't look like they have any stuns or anything like that. And one of the downsides of that Assassination Rogue, of course, you're not going to have that same control as a sub-rogue. And this mage race is definitely going in favor of the Golden Guardians. Peekaboo just doing so much damage when he's left alone. Now they're going to be forced to deal with him. And now they're going to be going after him as well. Roasty's realizing, hey, I need to target this rogue right now. Floor Mat once again in a kidney shot. Absturge getting Hammer of Justice before he can get it there onto Zach. Nice outplay there by Zach. And that is the only reason why Floor Mat didn't have to use his ice block right here to get the Ring of Frost as well to follow it up here. Whiskey now counterspelled on a polymorph, but that means he can go in and try to look for CC on his own. When Whiskey is just left like this, he's going to be able to reset his combustion. He's going to be able to just go in for crowd control whenever he wants to. Blessing of Protection coming out here onto Floor Mat, and if Whiskey kleptos that's going to be a big problem because Floor Mat going to have his combustion. And here we go. There is the Hammer of Justice. Can they find a polymorph? Can they find a Ring of Frost? Blinding light coming out here. Whiskey gets counterspelled. He's looking for the Ring of Frost. Can he land it? So close there. Unfortunate pathing there at the last second of that Ring of Frost. Floor Mat now ripping out with his combustion. Kidney shot comes out. Where's the Klepto though? Whiskey finally going to be able to get that Kleptomania right there. Looking to get a little bit of pressure here onto Floor Mat. Peekaboo takes a massive hit there as well. And both of these teams so far trading effectively. And I would say Golden Guardian slightly in favor. Mana so far looking tied.
All right, let's see what they can get done here on match point. Who would have thought Assassination would be able to keep Golden Guardians alive in this series? They need one more win to advance in the lower bracket. Loser will be out of the tournament entirely. Zach trading sacrifice here on floor mat, keeping him stable, but it wasn't really trading for too much of significance. Absterge with no Divine Shield. We see Peekaboo just running on the outside map. When you want to kill Peekaboo, he definitely makes it difficult. Roasties is trying to stay on target with that throw knife slow. It's actually very hard for Roasties to move on target. Freedom Stormbolt, but polymorphed on it by WizK. WizK assisting Peekaboo here excellently during that Stormbolt. Polymorphing Roasties again, trying to stall out. Peekaboo generating combo points, getting ready for a kidney shot. Smoke bomb up in 20, combustion available. This kidney shot could be a huge amount of damage if floor mat isn't ready for it. He doesn't have Cauterize to rely on, but Peekaboo on the back foot has to be Blessing of Protection, immune to physical damage. Peekaboo shadow steps away from the fight. Golden Guardians not feeling like this is favorable at the moment, but WizK still keeps pressure on floor mat. He's at 70% after its lobby and damage. WizK is soloing floor mat at the moment. Zach struggling. Peekaboo stuns him up, goes for the smoke bomb play. Floor mat gets out of it, blinking, but it's combustion. It's a huge amount of damage from WizK, and we see floor mat trying to position far in the back line and force Peekaboo away. They net trinket and sacrifice. It's back and forth between these teams in game 5.
It definitely is. This strategy adaptation of going after Peekaboo is key for Hamsters and Hares. Floor mat is unfortunately going to have to use his ice block. Sap on Zach. Things are looking great here for Golden Guardians. There's no ice block. There's no Cauterize. Peekaboo gets another sap. What can he do? Throat Silence comes in. Zach unfortunately missing the Warstomp. Floor mat in a lot of trouble. He gets low. Zach, he needs some heals. Gets caught into a stun. Divine Shield.
No!
Seed an egg. Can they take down the seed? The reverse sweep. Can they
bumped the
do a
seed!
bit more damage? It's
No
gonna be
way!
healed. They crush it. Golden Guardians. The Assassination Rogue. Look at Peekaboo. He cannot believe it. I cannot believe it. They managed to bring in this specialization. No one is playing. This is... What is this? Is this Battle for Azeroth? I mean, Golden Guardians coming back with the Assassination Rogue Fire Mage, Paladin, reverse sweep. And man, that is looking good. I'm curious to see how far they can take this.
Go ahead, Zico.
Just unbelievable. I mean, you can see even Peekaboo's reaction there. He just goes, oh my God, drops his hand off the keyboard. He can't believe it. They're able to win on that blinding light sap chain there with the Garrote Silence. And what an absolute insane performance here from the Golden Guardians, bringing out the Assassination Rogue, getting the reverse sweep, and here we're going to see it as well. Look at that Hodge blinding light. WizK getting completely shut down here on his Ring of Frost, but Peekaboo Vanish Sap, gets the Ice Block, stays in Vanish, immediately responding to that, and then he's just going to resap, then Garrote Zach, and actually no, he doesn't even get the reset, he just gets the Garrote Silence, then he goes for the kidney shot here, Zach here bubbling, but it's not going to be enough. The seed gets proc there, and no sacrifice for the seed. He tries to bop the seed, but WizK immediately steals that, and they take it down, advancing in the lower bracket, knocking down Hamsters and Hares in that matchup. And look at WizK's damage here as well, really making a case for himself in this matchup, though. He was free, to be fair, for the most of the matchup, and he has that rogue on his side, which makes it a little bit harder for floor mat since he's going to be in more lockdown, but still excellent performance all across the board here.
Certainly, and I feel like this is why this team is